A lot of people focus on sales, but not on service. Okay. When it's actually the service that extends the lifetime value of the customer. Here's 4 things I want us to focus on today. Number 1, when a man asks you to go 1 mile, you go 2. It's like, how do you extend beyond to someone what they expect for you to do? And that really wins people over forever, right? And it's in a world where people say, well, it's not my job, somebody else's responsibility. I don't want to fool with it. It's like, man, how do you just take it one more step with people? Okay. So number 1 is when a person asks you to go 1 mile, you go 2 miles. So that's number 1. Number 2, and I'm going to go back to something I said in week 1. What's small to you is big to them. How you make a person feel is very important. And we call that in our business the impression of increase. You give off the impression of increase. So when people call in all day and people are asking you things, you say, oh, yeah, I could just kind of do the bare minimum. Or I could take this up to another level. When they ask me to go 1 mile, I could go 2 miles. And how I make them feel, because what's small to you is big to them. They got a request and you go, oh, that's a small thing, man. I'm not even worried about that. But it's a big thing. Especially when there's complaints, especially when there's something negative, especially when, right? And it takes a lot of pride in being a great customer service person for this. Now, I was flying out one day from one place to another, and I've been on the road all week, and I was tired, and I got to the airport, and the person said, Mr. Burt, you're gonna miss this flight, and you're not gonna get home to see your family. They said, but I'm not gonna let that happen. And she said, I'm gonna personally take you from here through security so you can catch your flight so you can get home and see your kids. And she ran with me through the airport. And I thought, man, I've never had, because I've gone up to some people before and they said, you know what, you're a minute late. You're not letting you on the plane. You just kind of catch the next flight and it's 6 hours later. But this woman, she's like, I'm going to run you through security and make sure you get home. She said, you got kids? I said, yes. She said, how long have you been gone? I said, man, I've been gone all week. I'd really like to see my kids. She said, I'm going to make sure, Mr. Burt, you're on this plane. Right. And I thought, now that was incredible. Okay. Imagine if everybody had that mindset. Okay. But here's the deal. We focus on the negative. People got bad attitudes. Then when they got bad attitudes, we have bad attitudes. Then they're cynical and we become cynical. And then it's like, we don't want to help anybody, right? Because a few people had bad attitudes. But attitude is a posture of the body represented by physical state. Okay. When you choose to go into the operation business, the customer service business, the people business, then really your attitude is everything. It literally is everything. Okay. So number 2 is, how do you make people feel? How do you make people feel? Number 3. Hey, this is Coach Micheal Burt. And if you want to get a text daily from me, 5 days a week, activate and reactivate the Pray Drive, some of my best concepts, a little shot of Coach every single morning, I want you to text this number, text Monster Producer to this number. And I'd love to come into your life every single morning and get that Pray Drive activated. Let's go. And I feel like this a lot with people that we work with, like vendors. And I guess you guys would be considered a vendor to people. I feel like they don't listen a lot. Now, Brittany has to handle a lot of the vendors that I work with. And she could tell me in a matter of seconds, is this group an asset or a liability? Do they add something to us? What do they add? Ideas, energy, strategy. They're pleasant to deal with. They're frictionless. Or, man, are we spending money and it's just a pain to deal with them, right? They don't get results. They make excuses. They complain about everybody else. So when people think about vendors, especially in your business, it's very easy to go, well, I just don't like what they're doing, so I'm just going to get somebody else to do it, right? Because there's so many people out there in the space. But if they go, I really like how that team makes me feel, they listen and they provide a solution. I spent like 6 months telling one of our vendors, you're not listening to what I'm telling you. Like listen to what the problem is and provide a solution. Well, they spent all of their time instead telling me how great they were and and they never listened at one time. Now, fast forward 6 months later, we finally just we had to fire them. We had to say, it's just not working. The way we're working just isn't working. We like you as people. We actually want to do business with you, but you're not listening to the feedback that we're giving you. And every time we give you some feedback, you don't want to hear it, right? It's like, hey, we're paying you a lot of money to do this job. And so I wrote down number 3, listening and providing a solution. Like really listening and going, okay, I completely understand. Let me solve this problem for you. Like I like to say, money changes hands when problems are solved. But people who solve them with great attitudes, those are the people you remember. See, I'm staying at a Marriott here, and I used to stay at Hilton's, and Hilton's got bought out, and the leadership changed. And then I started going to certain Hilton's, and they weren't clean, they were old, they weren't well maintained. And I just go, you know what, man, I'm just not going to take a chance. I need to go to somewhere where I feel like the room's going to be clean. It's going to be good people. They're well-trained people. They got good attitudes. I very seldom have a bad experience at a Marriott. I had one or two, but Hilton, it's like their whole brand just went downhill. And it's like very few people in today's world listen and provide a solution. It's like I listen to you and let me provide you a solution, right? That is what good service really is, okay? So let's go back to this unreasonable hospitality. So now we got 3 things. When a person asks us to go 1 mile, we go 2. Okay? What's small to you is big to them. Number 3, listening and providing a solution. And number 4, I'm going to call this the +1, is that people have an expectation, but there's one extra thing you add on there that they didn't think about. Now, in the old days, you could buy Cracker Jacks and there was a gift in there, or you could, we used to, as boys, we used to buy bubble gum and it had baseball cards in there. You'd actually buy the baseball card, but it had a stick of bubble gum in there. You buy Lucky Charms, it's got a little gift in the bottom of it. You buy Cracker Jacks, it's got a little toy in there. And I always call that the free prize. It's like one thing that you didn't expect. It's like an extra. It's like a bonus, right? And I call that the +1. I mean, this is something, we could even get better at. It's like if somebody bought one of my books online, what if we put 2 of them in there? What if we put a handwritten note in there for me? What if every person got a phone call from me that bought one of my books? See where I'm going? Because nobody else is doing that. So when you think about it, a lot of times we don't do these things because it's like, that'd be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. But it's like, we're busy and we just can't do this. When all actuality, I don't know exactly what the stat is, but I do know that if I had a good experience here at this Marriott in Virginia Beach, and it was really cool, next time I come to Virginia Beach, it's probably where I would stay. Because I'd go, why even look somewhere else? Because it was a great experience, right? And they did this for me, and it was this, and it was red. It was really cool. But what happens in companies is because people have not been trained on these things, it's very hit or miss. If you don't kind of hire hospitality-minded people, they don't even think about these things, right? So the 4th one is the +1. It's like you're looking for little extra things to do for people that they never expected. A lot of these things may not come natural to you. Didn't come natural to me, by the way. So what happens is that we end up letting other people affect us in a negative way. We go home upset. We let one customer bother us, or one interaction with somebody really keep us down for the day. So, here's the 4 things we talked about today. Number 1, when a person asks you to go 1 mile, go 2. Number 2, what's small to you is big to them. Give off an impression of increase. Number 3, listen to what the problem is and really work to provide a solution to the problem. And number 4, the +1. Do something they never anticipated you doing.